The most feared demon lord from 2000 years ago, Anirecapped, is reincarnated and hides his cheating skills to live as an ordinary student, living peacefully as a student of the Magic Academy. Anos does some side quests as well, like one time in the past, specifically 7 years ago, he took the mythical stairways to the moon, where he was met by a mysterious goddess who immediately forbade him from coming any further. But Anos refused to do so, stating that he intends to destroy the moon that is so dear to her. The goddess didn't think taking down the moon would be possible or logical, but Anos thought otherwise, explaining that if he simply took down the moon of creation, he would succeed in destroying the moon as well. Anos revealed that the sun of destruction took life from humans, while the moon of creation gave birth to new ones. These cycles of death and rebirth continuously repeated themselves because that was just the basic rule of the world. However, Anos didn't want humans to be the gods' playthings anymore. So he desired to destroy the law itself to create a world with absolute freedom. He himself knew that if the cycle of death and rebirth was disrupted, then there was a chance that the world would die out. But Bro simply didn't care and was ready for any chaos, being the most overpowered demon lord. The mysterious goddess chose peace over a meaningless fight and then introduced herself as Militia, the goddess of creation who had created this world. Anos tried to understand how God processed these types of situations, so he straightforwardly asked Militia about what was going through her head right then when her potential enemy was standing right in front of her. Militia claimed that gods like her did not have anger, sorrow, or any other emotions. They were basically a set of rules and orders existing for the world. However, Anos didn't think that way and got personal with Militia, asking if there was someone she cared for. He learned in reply that Militia had a younger sister whom she had never had the chance to meet. So, she told him her name, giving him the task of finding her, and then walked away to go back to doing her duties as her free time had run out. Now going back to the present, Anos goes to the same place once again to meet with Militia, telling her that he has come here with a gift for her, a letter that is sent by her sister, whom she has never met before. Militia gets a smile on her face reading the contents of the letter, even though she herself claims that she was devoid of any emotions. In exchange for the gift, Anos requests that Militia spend some time with him so that he can better understand who the gods are. The next morning, Anos' mom, Isabella, crazes over the fact that her son has become the Demon King. Now that her son is quite an important person, Isabella tells Anos' sidekick Misha to stop distracting him from his goals. Isabella herself wants to stay out of his way, but because Anos himself told her that he cannot live without having her cook, she cannot do so. Both Isabella and Misha agree that Anos is a very caring and thoughtful person, and thanks for being the way he is. Anos gets done eating his meal while dealing with his mom's drama, and then tells both of them that he will be going off to the demon castle Delsgate. But before that, he goes to meet with Sasha and teleports directly to her bedroom with Misha, where they find that Sasha is fast asleep. He wakes her up, threatening to destroy her house if she doesn't get up right away. Sasha, who sees the charming Riz Lord standing in front of her, assumes that it was just a dream, so she goes back to sleep again. The Riz Lord picks up Sasha from her bed in order to get her up, which leaves her becoming a red tomato out of embarrassment. She hesitantly wishes both of them a good morning while continuously blushing like a baby. Misha gets happy seeing her sister so happy and happily agrees to share her demon lord with her equally to bring a smile to Sasha's face. Although I think the demon lord would likely take both of their smiles away if he were given the chance, but whatever. Out of nowhere, Misha becomes sad, stating that she feels sorry for Anos as he is no longer able to go to classes with them at the academy anymore. Since the world now knows that Anos is the Demon King from 2000 years ago, it is only reasonable that no parent would let their kids be around the infamous Demon King, known to be a complete tyrant. Anos tells Misha not to feel too bad about it, revealing to her that he has made the necessary preparations to be reinstated as a student. The girls later in the class understand what Anos meant when he said necessary preparations. Their teacher introduces a new transfer student who looks nothing more like a kid, calling him Anoshu Polticoat. Yeah, this guy is definitely Anos Voltigode, But I am surprised by how much effort he put into changing his name. Bro literally went from Anos to Anoshu and Voldegode to Poltecote. Utterly risible. Anos, now Anoshu, introduces himself to everyone in the class, stating that he is 6 years old and used to be a traveler once. Some of the students don't understand how a mere 6-year-old passed the transfer entrance exam to their academy and question their teacher about it. Their teacher, who is certain that this 6-year-old is a child prodigy, tells the students not to underestimate him just because of his age. With the introduction session coming to an end, Anoshu takes one of the empty seats in the class, right in the middle of the girls in his harem, and proudly acclaims that with this disguise, he can stay hidden and live as a student. The teacher, Erdemaid, grabs the attention of the students again and tells them that another person has joined their academy as their new swordsmanship instructor, a silver-haired man named Shin Regalia. Shin's daughter Misei, not to be confused with Misha, becomes surprised to see the legendary demon fighter father joining as a mere teacher. Their teacher, Erdemaid, states that Shin isn't the only surprise, but there will be many other demons from 2,000 years ago who will be training them. Moreover, the Great Tree Spirit in Union will also be offering them many special classes. Naming the special class as Great Demon King Drills, Erdemaid makes it clear that the academy is looking for the next Demon King amongst the students. Erdemaid thinks that the students should be serious since the Demon King is now out in the open and can once again act like a tyrant like before. Of course, he is saying bad things about Anos, who is just sitting there listening to everything menacingly. But anyway, Erdemaid states that the demons of the current generation are far weaker than the demons who have lived for thousands of years. And that is exactly why they will need to become stronger in order to become proper enemies of the Demon King. Anos, who has had enough of this unnecessary hatred, strangles him from the inside, forcing him to change his words and say rivals instead of enemies. According to Erdemaid, Anos himself wants the demons of this generation to become stronger so that they can improve the country altogether and be able to avoid any future conflicts with other countries. Although Erdemaid thinks avoiding war is impossible, he commends Anos for his mentality and encourages the students again to ascend into fine, powerful demons. Anyway, the new swordsmanship instructor, Shin, takes all of the students to the Colosseum to train them, telling them that he will make them die at least once or twice while training them. At the training grounds, Misa loses against the silver-haired pro, Noble Lei, who knows she is holding back just so that she doesn't accidentally hurt him. Misa explains that she cannot release her true strength as that may bring her closer to being Avos, the greater demon, who is someone to be despised. Lei, who promises that he won't ever hate Misei, even if she changes her appearance or her manner of speaking, comes close to her and tells her that he will love her always, even if she is a 3mm microscopic worm. His words of love flatter Misei, who comes close to give him a kiss, but her father, who has been watching this cringe fest take place, doesn't let her do as she pleases and throws his sword at them, causing them to be pulled away from each other. Being the father to his only daughter, Shin steps forward and takes Lei on a 1-versus-1 duel, asking him how many times he would like to die at the hands of his girlfriend's father. Lei doesn't take any BS from his future father-in-law and jumps right at him, initiating their duel. And as both clash their swords against each other, Anos comes along with Misa to watch the battle. Judging from the sounds coming from the swords, Anos realizes that Lei is actually having a loud conversation with Misei's dad. He lets Misa hear what they are talking about. She becomes baffled when she realizes that Lei is basically begging her father to let him marry her. He promises to make Misa happy, but Shin, of course, doesn't believe him without any strong evidence. And so he shows him his place, knocking him away from afar, and makes it clear to him that he is too weak to be married by anyone. Lei, of course, doesn't think that way, but before he could do anything about it, Shin defeated him, rendering him unconscious. Misa runs there and quickly heals Lei, who knows that he doesn't stand a chance against his future father-in-law. Speaking of whom, Shin approaches him again and strictly tells him not to take his daughter out late at night from now on. But knowing that these two children will still continue to date, Shin tells them to at least let him know if they will be staying out late because Misei's mother, Lino, will worry otherwise. Meanwhile, Anoshu is approached by an overconfident loser with a one-eyed sword who thinks that he can act big and mighty in front of the girls if he defeats this child. However, Anoshu is not just an ordinary kid, but the greatest demon lord to have ever existed. So, he takes on the loser named Ramon, who seems to be a royalist, as he claims to hate equality amongst all demons. Considering this to be a great opportunity to address these royalists, Anoshu also pretends to be one and asks Ramon to let him know if there is any hidden community amongst the royalists. Although Ramon claims that such a community disbanded a long time ago, he also gives him a hint, telling him that even if they did exist, the members would not just go around telling everyone about it. Anoshu realizes that he must prove his worth to Ramon to manipulate him into recruiting him as a member of the Royalists. So, he shows Ramon his powers, knocks him away in an instant, and brings him back beneath his feet, promising him that he is also a Royalist. Being amazed by the kid's overpowering strength, Ramon happily recruits him and takes him after school to see the leader of the Royalists. They head to a wasteland together, where, in an abandoned cave, Ramon introduces Anoshu to one of the leaders who has captured a dragon. The leader learns that Anoshu is highly talented and skilled with magic, so he tells him to bring the dragon under his control using his magic. The leader explains that he wants to make the dragon his pet, and not only one but at least 10 of them, so that he can become the father of the dragons and attack Anoshu's city. He also reveals his intentions to reduce the Demon King's army using the dragons, as he cannot directly attack the Demon King. Anoshu acts like he agrees with the old geezer's plan and plays along, taming the monster, but not in the way you would think. He actually reduces the dragon to nothingness, making it clear to the Royalists' leader that he cannot win against the Demon Lord's army using these weak dragons, who cannot stand a chance against a 6-year-old. At least the leader is happy that he has now recruited a comrade who is strong enough to be at least 100 times stronger than 10 dragons. But that's where he is wrong. Anoshu reveals that he is the Demon Lord, turning back into his original size, and punishes the Royalists' leader and Ramon for daring to go against the tyrant. He makes them wear a cursed steel collar, telling them that they will now face a nightmare all the time after being eliminated by the Demon Lord, telling both of them that they are already under his genjutsu, as the two agonize in pain because of the nightmares they are having each and every second. Anos frees them from the genjutsu and tells them he will take their collar off only if they manage to convert all of the Royalists back to being equalists. After making both of them agree to his orders, Anos questions them about their operations and learns from them that the dragon they had was delivered to them by a mysterious man who claimed to have many more in their arsenal. That man wore a ring that was not from any known cities, which means that there is a hidden mastermind puppeteering everything. After learning about the situation, Anos returns to his palace, where a woman named Emilia seeks an audience with him and begs him to save her, telling him that she is someone who belongs nowhere in the world. Emilia was once a teacher at the Demon King Academy, but because she says she doesn't belong there, Anos decides to send her to the human realm to be a teacher there at the Heroes Academy instead. He tells her that demons and humans are equal, so she shouldn't discriminate against anyone and should explore new paths to figure out where she belongs. So, Emilia unwillingly takes her leave, agreeing to join the Hero Academy as a teacher. The next day, Igorif, taking the form of a golden bird, conveys a message to Anos, informing him about the recent dragon sighting near the human city of Asian, where several people have either died or gone missing because of it. Igorif assumes that all of the people were either devoured or trampled to nothingness, but because there is no evidence, he cannot say for sure. Moreover, because the dragons are extremely powerful to deal with, there is no one strong enough currently who knows how to subdue them, meaning only Anos can save the people from dying meaninglessly. But Anos comes up with a better idea, saying that his comrades from 2,000 years ago would be strong enough alone to take all of the dragons down. It is very unlikely that the humans would let the demons help them, so Anos comes up with a solution for that as well, deciding to request a collaboration between the Demon King Academy and the Hero Academy for both sides' benefit. In that way, not only the dragons will be subdued, but a door will be opened for both humans and demons to understand that they are not too different from each other. Igorith is doubtful that the Hero Academy will agree to this proposal. But Anos tells him not to worry as he has an alibi there who is, of course, none other than Emilia. A week later, the students of the Demon Academy are sent to the Hero Academy for collaboration. Erdemade asks the weakest student in class how it felt to use her first teleportation spell. The student, knowing that she is the most inept magic user in class, considers it an honor that her teacher gave her such an opportunity and thanks him for it. Erdemade likes her attitude but tells her not to be too modest since, compared to the Demon King, all of them are trash at magic. Moreover, he thinks that out of all of them, she has that since she is not arrogant at all. Sasha, in the meantime, who just overheard this conversation, is left with her mouth wide open, as she has never expected that an oddball like Erdemade would be so motivating. Anyway, later, during the collaboration between the demons and humans at the Hero Academy, Emilia gets busy as it is her time to take the special class. But because she is a new teacher there, no one in the class pays attention to what she says to them or listens to her. She asks them to stay silent, but they just seem to not care as she is the newcomer here who should earn her respect from them. Some of the human students who were expecting the Demon King to be among the demon students become upset upon noticing that the Demon King is not there. Erdemade silences all of them, telling everyone that he is aware that they don't have any interest in an inter-academy exchange. So to get their interest, he summons Anoshu to the stage, telling the humans that the representatives of each academy will compete in a match against each other. If the Hero Academy wins, then he will cancel all of the classes during the exchange, telling the humans to choose how they would like to compete. The human representative says that they should play a game of dice where they should each roll a die, and the one with the higher number will win the match. The arrogant boy steps up himself and then gives Anoshu a die, who instantly realizes that the die is rigged for the human's favor. But being the overpowered demon lord, he throws it in such a way that the blonde cheap cheater doesn't manage to roll it in his favor. As the dice get buried deep into the ground with his powerful throw, he gets the number 6, winning the duel with ease. The blonde cheater accuses Anoshu of cheating, but as Anoshu reveals that the blonde dude is the one who cheated, Bro goes back to his seat, accepting the fact that he just got humiliated in front of everyone. While the teacher gets busy praising Anoshu for being a total prodigy, Anoshu hears a weird voice coming from a girl in front of him, who makes a confusing statement saying that if the Almighty creates a sword that no one can pull out, then the sword cannot be pulled out by the Almighty either. Therefore, he cannot be called the Almighty, meaning that he is not the Almighty and never was. So, she presents him with a question with this theory, asking Anoshu if there even exists an Almighty. Okay, that was a dumber and dumber riddle, not gonna lie. But whatever. As she disappears just after telling Anoshu this confusing line, it makes him wonder if he has been getting too high these days. Emilia once again tries to start the class, but this time not the students but the headmaster, Zamira, comes there, interrupting her. He mentions that there have been multiple sightings of a dragon, and the palace has ordered the students of the special class to subdue that dragon. The students are surprised to hear this, as they had no idea that they would be given such a heavy task. The headmaster doesn't explain anything whatsoever and moves on to talk with Lei, who is of nobility, and tells him that they have prepared a ceremony to welcome him at the palace, and the civilians and soldiers are ready to welcome back the hero. Lei states that he cannot live with humans now because he is now a demon, but the headmaster, who knows that Lei is still a hero, tells him not to hesitate and come to the welcoming ceremony. Anoshu, who knows that Lei is uncomfortable, asks him in front of the headmaster to come with him to play after school. Lei happily agrees and tells the headmaster that he is busy after school. The headmaster asks Lei to come right now if he is going to be busy later, as there is nothing that he can learn from being among these losers. The human students, who can't believe that a headmaster is calling his own students weak, decide not to go to subdue the dragon under his orders and tell him that he should use the troops that they have stationed to welcome the hero instead. Flashy Glasses states that subjugating a dragon is the same as going to their deaths. So for what reason should they do so if their headmaster doesn't even care about them? The headmaster tells them that, as heroes, they shouldn't think twice before risking their lives. He states that they are being offered a chance after they failed to stop the recent war. Emilia, who has had enough, gives her opinion, saying that no one should risk their life for the sake of being called a hero. She states that if this is what being a hero entails, they don't have to be a hero at all. The headmaster, of course, shuts her up, threatening to send her back to the Demon Academy if she ever speaks out of her turn. He tries to insult her in front of the students, but they retaliate against him and send him back, running away with his small, tippy toes. Emilia, who is not at all thankful to the students for taking a stand for her, makes the group of students leave the class, telling them that because of them, she will get into more trouble. With that being said, the class continues peacefully for the rest of the day. At the end of school, Anoshu and his friends go to a restaurant, where they come across Emilia, who is trying hard to open some canned foods. Anoshu approaches her, saying that these magic canned foods can only be opened by a human. So, he tells her the trick to disguise themselves as humans and then opens the cans. But what is more questionable is why Emilia is eating canned foods when there are so many restaurants around. Emilia explains that she doesn't want to interact with any humans here, and that is why she has brought a whole year's worth of canned foods to eat them all alone. Not recognizing that Anoshu is Onos, Emilia shares her canned goods with him. Judging by Anoshu's outfit, Emilia assumes that he is of royalty and tells him that she was also a royalty once as well. But an evil magician turned her into a hybrid demon and robbed her of all of her luxurious life. Guess who that evil magician is in the comment, guys? Anyway, after turning into a normal hybrid demon, she was looked down upon by everyone and thought that she would never be happy again. Anoshu makes her realize that she is the only one who has been looking down on herself and tells her to just accept herself as she is before leaving with his friends. He then visits the beach with all of the women in his harem and turns all of their clothes into swimsuits. While enjoying themselves together, the girls take Onos's throne and mock him for acting all tough and tyrannical like when he was in his original form. So, they naturally wish that Onos would stay in his cute and baby-like Anoshu form. Both Zeshia and Elainer, who have been working hard to impress Onos, tell him that they will soon be worthy of protecting him as their elder sister. Lei, who also reveals to be there, approaches Miss A, telling her that she looks without wearing any clothes. Shin, who has been lurking around for this very moment, confronts Lei for making such a comment and tells him that if he can beat him in a swimming race, he will let it slide. But in the end, their race ends in a draw, so they turn to Misa to choose who she would pick as the winner. Misa, however, ignores both of them as she was never watching the race and continues playing volleyball with her friends. At the end of the day, Anoshu notices that he is being followed, so he confronts his hidden pursuer, who is from the kingdom of the dragon god, claiming himself to be the Oracle, one of the selected 8 elites from his kingdom. The guy reveals that Anoshu is the demon king in disguise, so he prepares to subdue him and summons the goddess using a spell, who is none other than that confusing woman Arcana with a dumb riddle. Seeing that Arcana has the power to control the moon of creation, Anoshu asks if she is perhaps related to Militia. Arcana tells him that is not the case, and without any further explanation, turns him into a solid block of ice. However, Anoshu easily breaks free, turns back to his original form, and defeats Arcana, prompting the Oracle to run away for his life. As Oracle takes his leave, Arcana stops acting hostile and tells Onos that a human is about to become a god using the judgment selection. Because the Oracle was one of the elected candidates to become a god, she was acting on his support. Being the goddess of selection, it is Arcana's task to find a suitable candidate, and now that she knows Onos is more than worthy, she deems that Onos is the most suitable one of this generation. Onos doesn't get any more explanation, though, and is only told to come to the underground city to find his answers. Oh, and she also doesn't give him the answer to the riddle, because she herself doesn't know it. Now that's one dumb god. The next day at the humans and demon collaboration classes, Erdemaid makes the students undergo a dragon-slaying training regime since they will have to subdue a dragon soon. To begin the training, Erdemaid tells the students that they will be playing a game of tag, but they express that they want to do something more serious than what children play. So, Erdemade makes a change of plans and tells the three arrogant losers to run towards the pine tree in the distance without using any magic. And all that in under 3 minutes. At first, the students from the Hero Academy stay confident, but when a monster breaks through the soil of the meadows, they soon realize why Erdemade gave them this task. As the group of 3 most arrogant humans is thrown into the sky by the monsters, Erdemade reveals that that monster is none other than a living, breathing dragon. The dragon nominated for being the worst Seageed creature takes the lives of the 3 students. But Erdemade tells them not to worry, saying that there are 3 hourglasses beside the tree that have the power to revive the students who are playing this game. However, if they do not reach the pine tree in under 3 minutes, the hourglass will stop, and they will actually die. Erdemade also gives the students a heads up, saying that if either of them gets eaten by the dragon, there won't be a way to resurrect them anymore. So, with that in mind, they start rushing towards the tree while being thrown around everywhere. As they bring back the hourglass to Erdemade while fighting for survival, he neutralizes the dragon. Now that the students know that what they will be doing won't be child's play, Erdemade goes back to his original plan and starts the game of tag, putting all of their lives at stake. He puts an hourglass in front of all of the student groups, including Anoshu's, who decides to try out something new with the dragon. He approaches it and commands the dragon with a glare, telling it to know its place, which itself is strong enough that it not only neutralizes that dragon, but also other dragons who were flying nearby. Having done with ruining all of the students' training sessions, Anoshu now commands one of the dragons to show him its nest, hoping that it will lead him to the secret mastermind, who has been perpetrating all of these events, including the dragon attack and the emergence of royalists. He then sets off with the dragon alone and heads to its hidden lair along with Sasha and Misha. Since the dragon is going underground, he assumes that it's going to the underground city that the goddess of selection Arcana told him about. When they reach the nest, they find out that it's a world inside another world. Anos is also surprised, though, because around 2,000 years ago, he checked everywhere near this place, but the tunnel leading here didn't exist back then. Figuring out that the tunnel was more likely built by someone, Anos wonders who is behind it. In any case, he and the 2 sisters enter the city, where the residents seem to be spending their lives normally. Judging by their magical power, Anos doesn't think they are much different from humans or demons. They walk around the underground city to learn more about the place when Anos senses that he is being followed. So, he leads the stalker to a narrow alley, where he reveals himself to be none other than the Oracle. Anos, who is already sick of the meaningless pursuit, asks Oracle what he wants from him this time. The Oracle, who expresses his desire to teach Anos a lesson for hurting his goddesses the other day, controls himself because fighting in this land is strictly forbidden because of a war-free pact. Apparently, the only place in the underworld where fighting is allowed is at Everstanzetta, the place that Arcana told Anos about. So, Oracle tells Anos to go there with him right now, or the Judgment Selection. Since Anos' goal of coming here was to go to that place, he decides to go with Oracle, even though the guy clearly wants to take his life. As they follow the Oracle to Everstanzetta, the Institute of the Gods, Arcana, the goddess of selection, welcomes them. Judgment Selection takes place where, which is a ritual to take over the role of the lost god, needs a divine agent. Oracle, who himself is one of the 8 selected human gods, admits that nobody else but Anos is more worthy to be one of the divine agents. So he tells him that he should undergo the ritual, promising him that if he does so, the throne will be all his. But before that, the divine agent must form a pact with an actual god because that god will be sacrificed for Anos to replace them. But because he doesn't want to take another god's place, Anos refuses the offer. However, the Oracle states that Anos has no choice because he has already been selected by one of the selection gods. Still, the overpowered demon lord doesn't care, so he takes his leave and heads to the library of the institution to learn more about the underground world. Although the scriptures are in another ancient language, Anos manages to decipher all of them using his cheating skills and discovers the truth about the underground world. According to one of the ancient scriptures, the underground world was created 2,000 years ago, and its residents are dragonids, the children of dragons. Because the ancestors of the current residents were born from dragons, it means they all possess dragon powers hidden inside and have great might in them. Dragons in their innate form consume sources like humans, demons, cattle, etc. When a dragon consumes a massive amount of sources inside of them, the life energy accumulates and are converted into a single life inside the dragon's womb. That's how these dragons give birth to children who look like humans. One may ask how normal dragons are born then. Well, you just got to, do the thing. Ahem. Anyway, Anos also learns that this underground world has a dome. Basically, the skies are fake, and those skies are none other than the surface of the outside world. Inside the underground world, there are 3 kingdoms: Giovann, Agatha, and Gatesiola. The divine dragons live in the Giovann kingdom, while the royal dragons live in the Agatha kingdom. Lastly, the supreme dragons live in the Gatesiola kingdom. These 3 kingdoms are constantly at war against each other because of the difference in the dragons' social status. Anos keeps reading, but what he doesn't find is who exactly created this world, as when he was alive in his previous life, this world didn't exist. On the other hand, Misha finds hidden texts written in the walls, which Anos is able to read because he has learned this language from the goddess of creation, Melisha. He learns that the hidden underground world journey began at this very castle, the Averstanzetta. The writing continues and ends with a riddle, which states the Averstanzetta is a castle where the night never ends and the emptiness is eternal. It only is able to exist because the night is without a beginning that can also shine a gentle light. No sun rises above the ground and destruction never comes. Life isn't created here and the world comes to a stop. The riddle ends with another question. Which matters more, order or humans? Reading this confusing riddle, Anos questioned whether another dumb goddess like Arcana wrote it, or was it Arcana herself who wrote such beautifully crafted dog poop. In any case, Anos is asked to leave by the holy knight Gazel, a human who also became a god by using the judgment selection, who states that they are prying too much in others' business. Gazel threatens to punish Anos for mocking their cherished judgment selection. But before he can succeed in doing so, Anos shows him his place and reduces him to nothing, leaving only his god-summoning ring, which brings out a goddess who revives Gazel once again. Apparently, this goddess has the power of restoration and can even revive the dead. So, Anos redirects his focus on destroying the goddess of restoration and damages her so badly that she is forced to run away for her life. Gazel, who reveals to have another god at his disposal, uses their powers and weapons to travel at the speed of light. However, Anos manages to see him even at that speed and, once again, brings him down, including his selection god. Arcana comes there and absorbs all of the Gazel's gods for herself in order to become stronger than ever. The Oracle reduces the guy to nothing and follows up by thanking Arcana for being the most merciful and holiest god ever. Anos gets sick of these foolish antics, so he calls out Oracle for being a fraud for devouring all of the other gods he can find in order to make Arcana stronger just so that he can defeat Anos. Oracle doesn't say anything back as Anos is telling the truth and quietly teleports away, stating that he will come one day to take revenge. Arcana, in the meantime, shows how merciful she is and reincarnates Gazel as a different person so that he can have a chance to live a better life. Anos asks Arcana why she chose Oracle to be her human god because he looks like a completely hopeless person. Arcana doesn't tell him anything because he is now her enemy, but she does warn him to go back to the overworld because she wants to save everyone she can. So, the group returns to the meadows, where Erdemade's class is still training. Erdemade reveals that all of the students, including demons and humans, are exhausted to the core. Yet he announces that all of them have passed and assures them that if they continue training like this, they too will one day be able to subjugate dragons. Ramon, who was the royalist guy, reports to Anos that the man with the dragons contacted his leader again. And because he has a ring like Gazel's and Oracle's, Anos realizes that the mysterious mastermind is also a human-turned-god. The very next night, the girls in Anos's, followed by their demon lord Anos, head to a mysterious palace, which is apparently the mastermind's residence. The palace is situated in the middle of nowhere, which makes it creepy at night. It is apparently also haunted by ghosts. According to some rumors, which scares Sasha as she cannot even imagine what a horrifying ghost would look like. Zeshia takes the opportunity and teases her by acting like a ghost herself. At that moment, a dragon cries from far away, prompting Sasha to scream at the top of her lungs in fear. Anoshu turns to Lei, who is also with them, and instructs him to do what they were told before during the ceremony. During the next day at class, Erdemade concludes the first part of the special collaboration between the Demon King Academy and the Hero Academy, telling the students that they are now worthy of running away from dragons. But because the students are still clueless as to how they should attack a dragon in order to subdue it, Erdemade begins the second session of this special collaboration and tells them that if the heroes can master barrier magic like their ancestors did once, they will be able to make the dragons vanquish. However, the barrier magic must be specific in order to completely confine a dragon. The ancestors, who almost 2,000 years ago subdued dragons, used a group spell named Digelias that could seal the dragon with sound omitted by its threads. However, the dragons have evolved over this long period of time and have now become somewhat resistant to Digelias, making it difficult for the users to completely bind them to the spell. But not to worry, as Erdemade claims to have come up with a derivative. But first, he decides to teach the students about Digelias. To use Digelias, a user must also be familiar with using Ask, so Erdemade asks Emilia to demonstrate Ask. However, Emilia, being a demon, claims not to have Ask in her, as that magic sequence is completely exclusive to humans, according to her knowledge. Still, Erdemade tells her to give it a try, and as she does so, nothing happens at all. But Erdemade insists on keeping going, telling her she can do it since she is not a pure royal demon anymore. So, Emilia tries the magic sequence again, with a human blood running through her veins, and successfully summons an Ask Barrier spell, which begins to formulate all of the magical energy around them. After formulating the barrier, Emilia realizes that she really now has the talent for human magic. But she doesn't stop there and continues to gather more energy in her Ask. Apparently, during this process, an Ask user can hear what's going on in other people's minds. Basically, they turn into Charles Xavier, and as Emilia hears some of the students' intrusive thoughts about her and what they would do to her, she loses her focus and fails to complete the session. Instead of apologizing to Emilia for disrupting her magic practice, the students blame her, calling her a rookie who doesn't even know how to use barrier magic, even though it's a basic skill for human heroes. The headmaster also joins in to insult Emilia, but this time he comes there with a bodyguard since last time he got badly beaten up by the students. He also mocks the students for only learning how to run from the dragons, telling them not to become a bunch of cowards like the demons. Some students try to retaliate, but the headmaster's knights make them stop using force. The headmaster, who reveals that he has come here to once again invite the noble hero Lei, invites his girlfriend Misatu to ensure that they come to his palace. He succeeds in persuading them and assures them that they will enjoy the banquet at the palace today. After he leaves, one of the students, Laos, who has had enough of the BS, expresses his anger by kicking the door. Emilia comes to calm him, but he pushes her away. At least by unintentionally hurting his teacher, Bro calms down. He states that even though all of the students at the Hero Academy put their lives on the line every time, the headmaster still never cares for them because they are just not good enough to be called actual heroes. Laos regrets the fact that he wasn't born as a hero or with the cheating skills of a demon lord and continues his ranting. So, Emilia steps up against him, gives the delinquent a nice fat slap on the face, and tells him to leave this academy or at least her class, as she thinks there is no need for him to take the class. So, Laos leaves along with many of their human student friends, leaving only a few humans with the demon students in the class who wonder what will happen to their collaboration now. Erdemade tells you not to worry, mentioning that humans sometimes need space to recollect their thoughts. Moreover, the Ask spell requires everyone to unify their thoughts, so it's better for the students to clear up their thoughts before he proceeds to train them on how to use the magic barrier spell. The show must go on, so Erdemade continues the class and teleports all of the remaining students to the East Desert to demonstrate to them how demons like him fight. Meanwhile, the headmaster brings Lei and Missa before the king of the kingdom, which explains why he has been so adamant about getting the favor of Lei. King Lysias thanks Lay for coming to the palace, telling him that he has been waiting for this very day for a long time. He goes straight to the point and tells Lay that he has a favor to ask of him. Apparently, a total of 26 members of the king's royal family have succumbed to a grave illness, making it impossible for them to continue to live too long. If the illness is not treated, Lysias will have to step down from the position of king, including his entire royal family. And that is why he is asking for Lay's help, as he has heard Lay's spirit sword has the power to sever fate and weave it back in the way he pleases. Lay, being a gentleman, happily agrees to help the king. The headmaster, on the other hand, takes all the credit for himself since he was the one who brought Lay here. The king rewards the headmaster by letting him continue to reign over the Hero Academy, even though he is not worthy. The headmaster, who doesn't want to stay at the Hero Academy himself, still abides by the king's order and unwillingly thanks him for being so generous. On the other hand, Anos, who reveals to have stayed behind, gifts Emilia with a good luck charm locket, telling her that she did the right thing by kicking Laos and his group out of the class since what they were only doing was oppressing her without any reason. Anos knows that Emilia also did so because she didn't want those students to step down onto a battlefield because they didn't even want to protect the people of their kingdom. Emilia gets weirded out by the fact that this 6-year-old boy is talking like a total grown-up. But she thanks him for being the only one considerate towards her and gets tears in her eyes as all of the other students have been giving her a very hard time. Thanks to Anos's kind words, Emilia has the strength to continue working at the Hero Academy as a teacher. The king takes Lay and Missa to an underground place, where he shows them a coffin that is apparently used to suppress curses. The royal family is also, according to the king, inside the coffin. But when Lay opens the coffin, a dragon comes out of nowhere, catching both Lay and Missa off guard and trapping them onto the ground using a gooey attack. Lay asks for an explanation from the king, who states that everything is part of a plan for salvation. According to the king, dragons are divine messengers, and that's why he is offering Lay's body and soul to dragons to attain true salvation from the gods. Lay asks the king about his royal family, who then reveals that he has already sacrificed his entire family as an offering to the dragon, meaning that this delusional psychopath has fed the dragon his own children. The king, who knew his children would be fighting for the thrones and his relatives would resent, hate, and battle each other just for power, stopped caring for them, and that is how he convinced himself to feed them to the dragon. The king, who knows he has a hero at his disposal, states that if he offers Lay to the almighty Equis, he will be able to attain immortality. First, he wants Lay to surrender, telling him to hand over his spirit god's sword if he doesn't want Missa to be hurt. As he starts torturing Missa, he uses the god's powers to take control of her body. But Missa, who has already devoted her body and mind to Lay, doesn't give in and breaks free from her shackles. Meanwhile, at the Hero Academy, the strongest variant of the dragons, a crimson dragon, attacks the students who refuse to run away because they are heroes. Emilia, who doesn't want her students to die, diverts the dragon's attention and lures them away into the sky. As she gives up on her life and lets herself be devoured by the dragon, Laos and his group reach there in the nick of time and, with team strength, desperately try to save their teacher, whom they have been very disrespectful to. As all of the other students devote their energy to rescue their dear teacher, Emilia utilizes all of them, dives into the dragon's body, and rips its heart open from the inside using barrier magic to its fullest capacity. After defeating the dragon, Emilia reunites with her students, who finally start treating her with respect and reconcile with her. The episode begins with the instructor, Erdemaid, laughing boisterously as he gazes at the magnificent scene before him. A red dragon is all wrapped up in magical chains after being defeated by the Hero Academy's students under their instructor Emilia's leadership. He commends the whole class for not only battling a variant but winning against it. Heroes are truly reckless no matter the era they live in. Anoshu smirks and is happy with the compliments, but unfortunately, this happy scene was disrupted by the arrival of the headmaster, Zamira, shouting about an emergency. Zamira, in all his bald glory and flanked by 2 bodyguards, screams about a horde of dragons approaching the area. He orders everyone in the name of the king to give their lives and serve as the nation's shields. In response, Anos snaps his fingers and immediately teleports Headmister Zamira away. That's one way to deal with annoying bosses. Emilia questions Anoshu what exactly he had done, so Anoshu explains that he just made the headmaster into a shield. After all, the humans' royal family fought the dragons in the front lines 2,000 years ago, so they should do that again. Laos, Hein, and Ledriano approach Emilia and announce that they should start the strategy meeting. The dragons are truly a threat, and they all want to defend their homeland. Emilia sees the resolve of her students and decides to help them. She asks their guests, the Demon King Academy, to let them handle the fighting because protecting their country is something that they have to do themselves. Elena and Zeshio also tell Anoshu that they will also help in the defense since they are also Hero Academy students. This leaves Anoshu, Misha, and Sasha to do something else. After their strategy meeting, the Hero Academy students start implementing their plan. Hein uses his holy sword to create a rupture in the ground, connecting the nearby lake of the capital to the waterway. The water gushes into the crack and travels across the capital. Laos also blows away the gates blocking the waterway, allowing the water to rush out of the city and into the plains beyond. Emilia then jumps into the water and rides the current to the front lines, leading the other students into battle. Their plan was simple. They will use the ancient waterway that delivered holy water to the front lines. Using the water and its current, they will counter the dragons outside of the city and in a nearby field called Torino's Plains. Emilia notices that two of Anoshu's companions, Elena and Zeshio, are following closely behind her. The two girls explain that they are also Hero Academy students and are thus joining the fight. Zeshia casts a spell and changes their clothes into bikinis, hastening their swimming speed and giving the audience their daily dose of fanservice. I do hope they don't wear that and use some armor against the dragons. Upon reaching the plains outside the city, Emilia orders the students to create a holy area. She then tells Hein that he is their trump card. The others head for the trees while Hein stays behind to prepare the battlefield. Using his twin swords, he carves a large rune into the field. Now all they have to do is wait for the oncoming dragons. While hiding among the trees, Emilia rouses the students with a speech. She explains how she was once a royal noble who inherited the blood of their founding ancestor. However, the great king of tyranny revealed her to be a fake, and she lost everything. Thus, she ran away and fled from all of her problems. That was what led her there. However, she is not going to run away anymore. She will stay because she finally found the place that she wants to protect. Her students may be foolish and vulgar, but they are all important to her. They will show their heroism to the humans of the Garadite kingdom and destroy every dragon. With a rousing cry, every student of the Hero Academy raises their hands and prepares their magic. The dragons finally arrive, but they are instantly met by a barrage of attacks, causing them to crash to the plains below. Meanwhile, back at the underground cave under the palace, King Lysias warns Lei that if their fight continues, Missa will lose her soul. However, being the Chad that he is, Lei still refuses to draw the spirit god sword. He still believes that their love would win out. This forces King Lysias to command his guardian god of emotions, Inus Nemes, to fully absorb Missa's soul. Missa is wrapped in smoke, and she caresses Lei's cheeks. She wants to know if Lei is still capable of loving her. Back in the battlefield, Zeshia is using her sword to bring down the dragons one by one. However, there are still too many of them. Some of the dragons are immobilized by barrier magic, while some get burned to death, but a couple still manages to escape and fly above the battlefield. The dragons then release their breath and bathe the plains in raging fire. Ledriano watches the worsening situation and decides to take action. He casts his magic and blocks the fire with his own wall of fire. Eleanor also casts support magic, allowing the other students to draw out more than their maximum power. Now enhanced, Laos easily defeats another dragon. More dragons are approaching from above, so Ledriano orders the other students to create a barrier. Unfortunately, their barrier was disrupted when a falling tree snapped their Digelia's spell. A dragon manages to break through the weakening barrier and is heading straight towards Emilia. In the blink of an eye, Ledriano suddenly pushes Emilia out of the way, and she can only watch as the dragon catches Ledriano in his mouth. Meanwhile, Anos, Misha, and Sasha teleport underground. There, Anos catches a draconid lurking underground and he questions him if he was the one who released the dragons. The draconid tries to escape, but Anos suddenly casts Nednalias, putting him in a godless illusion. This causes the draconite to break down and admit that they were ordered by the oracle, Ahide, to consecrate Garadite. Consecration means that they feed the humans to the dragons in the hope of being reincarnated. Anos steps on the draconite and ends him. However, more enemies suddenly appear. Anos orders Sasha and Misha to handle them while he heads down to Everastin Zeta to confront the oracle. The two Necron sisters, Sasha and Misha, merge together to take enemies down and transform into a divine entity who has both the powers of destruction and creation. Seeing her destructive powers, the bishops realize that the two sisters must have taken the form of the goddess of absurdity, whose name is Genadonov. However, the two merged sisters claim that they are no gods because they are technically still demons. On the other side, the Hero Academy students look like they are struggling to even confine a normal variant dragon using the barrier magic spell. Emilia, who is taking care of the injured student Ledriano, asks Hein to give her an update on the situation. Hein, who was in the middle of creating a magical holy circle, gives her the news that his task is more than 90% done. But before he can continue any longer, a blue variant dragon comes before him and starts blasting flamethrowers at him and onto the ground to destroy the holy circle. Zeshia and Eleanor see the dragon in the distance, so they too decide to join Hein in his battle, telling Emilia that they will try to bring the dragon down in under 3 minutes of time. Eleanor mentions that during this time period, they won't be able to revive, so she gives Emilia the responsibility to keep everyone alive in the meantime. As the two girls approach the dragon, it turns its attention towards them and attacks them instead. Eleanor plays the support role and boosts Zeshia's power, who summons a barrage of swords and launches all of them simultaneously at the dragon. Eleanor once again comes to her support and uses another magical move named Duplicating Mirrors to, you guessed it, duplicate and multiply Zeshia's attack to inflict maximum damage. With the blue dragon taken down by the combined team move, the two girls decide to head back, but then they notice that more dragons are approaching their way. So, they make a change of plans and decide to take care of those dragons first. Emilia, in the meantime, tries to protect Hein, but when she is not looking, another blue dragon emerges from the grounds and instantly freezes him, stopping Hein momentarily. Thankfully, Laos makes it in time before it's too late and starts unfreezing Hein. But just as he unfreezes Hein's face, the dragon freezes Laos, making Hein realize that he is really unlucky. Speaking of being unlucky, he remembers the time when the real hero Lei took his rightfully deserved holy sword from him, which makes him regret being weak and a total misfit. As a new sense of determination fills inside of him, he gets enough power in him to break the ice, sacrifices his left arm to do so, and successfully fills the created circle entirely with water. But he ends up losing his life as a result. Emilia, who doesn't want the poor boy's life to go to waste, uses her barrier magic spell to activate the Gelius, which is used to subdue the dragons, and releases thousands of rays of light from that holy circle, which allows her to take down all of the dragons at once. Thanks to her crucial effort, the Hero Academy is able to successfully win this war against the dragons and have peace return to their land. On the other side, Anoshu goes back to the underground city and approaches the Oracle Ahide with the suspicion that it was him who decided to invade Ashen, the human city, using the dragons. Oracle Ahide admits that it was them who did it, but doesn't specify whether it was his decision to do so or the entire country's. He explains, saying that he only did so because of the human king's begging, who apparently asked the gods for salvation for his people. Anoshu doesn't understand why the people of Ashen would need what Ahide refers to as salvation, stating that humans don't even believe in gods. However, Oracle disagrees, stating that the humans definitely believe in Almighty Equis, who was the one who blessed them with a hero Kanon aka Lei, along with his spirit god sword Avansmama. Ahide also adds that he thinks everything that has happened is because of the gods' guidance. Anoshu, of course, doesn't trust a single thing that comes out of Ahide's mouth, so Oracle decides to give him evidence as to why he is known as the Oracle. He claims to have just received a divine message from the gods that says that the guardian god of emotions will cause Lisa's soul to set off for the gods. and when the hero Canon Lay draws the spirit sword to save Misei, the sword will instead return to the gods. Lay will then be brought to justice for arrogantly using his divine power, thinking that it was his own, and be taken away. After that, a dragon will appear before Aishin and lead the people there to the gods for salvation. Anoshu, who again doesn't fall for Ahide's BS, states that Ahide isn't a god, but a devil who doesn't want to save people, but to bring harm to them. He finds it rather tasteless that the salvation that Ahide speaks of only serves to mock those who lived with all their might but didn't survive. He mentions how Emilia and her students from the Hero Academy put their lives on the line to protect Aishin and took on many dragons together. But are they doing so for salvation? No. So, according to Ahide, if all of it is happening because they are being manipulated by the gods, the question that Anoshu finds unanswerable is what even was the purpose of this battle. To sum it up, he doesn't think that fate is what made things this way, and he makes it clear to Ahide that everything is happening because of their own decisions and that there are no divine interventions. To prove Ahide wrong, Anoshu even shows him what's going on currently at the scene of the king and Lay. There, Misa has turned into a black miasma, but because of Lay's unwavering love, the miasma reveals its true form and turns into the lady demon King Avos Dilhevia, who was reincarnated as her. Realizing how powerful and annoying Avos can be, the king summons the defender dragons. Lay summons his spirit sword and tries to defeat the dragons, but he ends up falling into a trap as the goddess hiding inside the dragons grabs his sword and takes it away. With his holy sword gone, the king becomes confident that he will be able to take down the hero. But much to his surprise, the hero teams up with Avos, and they together defeat the king in an instant, making it clear that the demons cannot be underestimated. Anoshu shows everything until now to Ahide and makes him realize that defeating the hero by using petty tricks won't work anymore. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Stay safe and take care.